Working in retail is never easy, especially when you have to deal with a bunch of crazies. Welcome to this episode of Tales from Retail. Our first one is from Patrick C-Star's Legs. So this evening I was on a closer. A customer came in asking to sign up to a contract and have it added to his Wi-Fi one. We do phone and Wi-Fi plans. So I asked if he had a license or a passport, required to avoid fraud or people reselling or identity theft. And he didn't. So he went and came back with an ID card for a workplace. I told him a second time what he needed. So he huffed and puffed and said he'd get one and come back. He comes back with a citizen card. We can't accept those. They don't have the required stuff. And so I explain a third time what he needs. He goes off saying ID is ID and I'm required to serve him or he'll cancel his whole contract. Did it look like I give a fuck? And asks when we close. I tell him 7 and he says he'll come back at 7. So I say that this is when we close and he turns around yelling that he will be served and will come under the shutter if need be. Now I'm picking up sketch vibes. He knew he needed these things the first time around. So I call a security guard, shop is in a mall, to come and stand there at 7 while panicking. Guard and another one he called for backup stand there for my call until I closed. Guy did come back and start saying I didn't tell him and that I was to serve him and that he was tired and wanted to go home. Same? Like, get the fuck out, dude, it's closing. So I sympathize and relate. Of course, he's acting all calm because I have security there, so he says he'll be complaining about me to the higher up and leaves. Yeah, okay. Tell them you didn't have the required papers and verbally abused a minimum wage worker to the point where she felt she needed security because of you. See if I care. And yes, I will be telling my manager about this in the morning. I mean, definite sketch vibes for sure. If he already had an account, he knew what was required to do anything to that account. I definitely feel he might have been trying to pull some fraud, where he would benefit from the service then at a later date complain that he never signed up for it. This next tale is by TilePlas26. My first retail job I ever had, I consider one of the worst jobs I ever had. So just a quick back info. The owner of the store I worked at would not allow us to hold items that were on sale for customers who would phone in asking to hold them. They said it was to be fair for other customers who would make the drive in to get it. So I had a customer phone me, ask me if I had one certain item that was on sale. I looked at my computer and verified we had one left. He then asked me to put it on hold, that he will be in 2 days to get it. I told him I'm not allowed to hold items that are on sale, that he would have to come in right away to get it. He was almost begging at that point, telling me I can put it on hold, that I should cut him a break. I informed him that it was against our store policy and if I were to do that, I could get fired. But he kept insisting that I should cut him a break. Despite the fact that I warned him I could get fired for doing something like that. He didn't seem to care. Just want me to hold the item so he can get it in 2 days. I finally had enough and told him I'm not risking my job, that if he wanted the item, come in right now to get it, and if not, come in 2 days and see if we still have the item on the shelf, but I wasn't gonna do anything else. He just kinda groaned, said fine, and hung up. It makes you wonder if a complete stranger was begging this guy to put his job on the line, would he actually do that? I'm willing to bet he most likely wouldn't, so to ask that of someone else is kind of asinine. This next tale is from Theresa. So I worked at a rather popular chain retail store for a little bit. My mom got me the job since she also works there, still as a manager. This happened earlier this year, right before closing, and it was only me and a coworker on register. A normal, slow night. 2 elderly ladies come up with full cards each. My coworker gets one lady, and I get the other. I greet her kindly and ask if she has a rewards card. Unfortunately, I cannot remember if she did or not. I start ringing her. The entire time, this lady is extremely passive-aggressive. Slightly rude, but not enough to be directly rude back. Overall, just basically tossing her soon-to-be purchases my way onto the counter. The other lady comes over to her once she's done and they start chatting. We'll call her the smaller lady from now on. It seems as if they were solely complaining about everything. The smaller lady asks her friend if they should get this baby playmat sort of thing. She asks me to check the price, so I did. $30.
Oh no, no way! That's too much for this thing. Never mind, I don't want it.
So I put it in our throwback cart and continue to ring. $50, $60, $70, $80. This lady decided to go full-on shopping at like 8:30 at night. Finally, I finished up and her total comes out to $136. Not exact, but I can't remember how much the change was. Also, for context, I am not the best at counting money. I'm very slow when it comes to counting in general. So I promptly ask her if she's paying cash or card.
Cash.
This lady pulls out a wad of singles. And with a quick glance, she has more than one wad in her purse. She hands me the wad and tells me,
There's 100.
With a look of horror on my face and complete dread in my soul, I begin to count. I have no idea if this lady thought I was just supposed to take it and trust her that it was the correct amount, or if she hoards $1 bills. As I'm counting, she just stands there chatting with the smaller lady, and I could tell there's a vibe of impatience with them. Oh well. My other coworker comes over to help me count, thankfully. She's much faster at counting money than me. It took me probably a total of 5 minutes or so to actually count this out. Once I finish, I pop it in the register and give her the receipt. They both leave with a somewhat annoyed attitude. At least she had exact change. Edit. The store I worked at was more or less a sort of discount store. We had our own generic brands and cheaper prices than a regular big box retailer. I hope this gives some more insight on how much she bought. Edit 2. I didn't specify. I've never been good with numbers in general, which is why it takes me a little longer to count. See, my common sense tells me if this old lady was handed a wad of $1 bills and told that it was a certain amount, she would still count it out to make sure, so she has no right to act impatient for somebody counting out the money that she handed them. This next tale is by Apprehensive Skill 34. A little background. I work a retail online store mostly, and we do have people come in from time to time, but mostly online correspondence. This one customer just will not stop sending us email for a few days straight about the item he received being made in China. First email.
You cannot imagine how disappointed I was when the chuck I received was made in China. I'll never order from you again because by supporting the CCP, we are in effect allowing supporting the takeover of America by communists. Not on my watch.
Second email.
You sell crap made in China. I'll never buy from you again.
Third email.
And was I ever disappointed? The chuck was made in China, so that means you were supporting the CCP. Never again will I buy crap from you. Oh, what did you do with the chuck? I put it in my vise and cut it in two, then melted it down in my forge. You could have at least been honest and stated the crap was made in China. But oh no, you'd rather support the CCP than be honest. Never again will I order anything from you, and I'll let my friends know as well.
My old boss told him, Hi Ken, yes, many of our items are made in China, and many of your items as well. If you have any of the following items, they all have made in China parts as well as assembled there too. Nails, screws, TV, cable box, phone, computer, wallet, watch, clothes, iPad, tablets, food, car, and many other things. Might as well become a nudist and be nomadic if you don't want to support the CCP at all. Live under a rock and you might never hear about China ever again. But do your research before being so bluntly rude and disrespectful in an email. We don't need your business, but you could have at the very least kept a professional manner instead of telling us you melted down the chuck. You just wasted your own money. Best regards, owner. The owner very simply laid out the facts for this guy. I'm pretty sure he's still sitting in denial and probably just upset that he's just an angry person in general and likes to complain. And our final tale is from Ed Mario. This just happened a few minutes ago and I'm still confused on how stupid this lady is. So I work in a gas station that happens to get a lot of cash transactions, so we occasionally run out of change in our registers. We can get more out of the safe, but it's a pain in the ass to do. And when we do get money out, it's in specific denominations and the safe locks us out for a few minutes every time. We're also a college town and are about an hour or so west of Chicago, so a lot of times people will try to get a ton of change for the tolls instead of just buying a damn iPass. Now this lady sent her daughter in. She pays for gas and asks if she can get a couple bucks of quarters. Now I'm out of quarters at this moment and tell her this. She leaves and not even 2 minutes later, her mother comes in asking for a refund on the gas, all because we're currently out of quarters at the moment. We're not the cheapest gas station in town, but she'd either have to drive all the way to the other side of the town to get cheaper gas, or drive a few minutes to the closest gas stations that also have higher gas prices than us, all because she needs quarters. Edit, apparently there's some confusion. She never pumped the gas. My guess is she was only after the quarters. The only reason she paid for the gas is because most places have it to where you can't get change unless you make a purchase. I'm not sure if the same applies to your gas station, but my guess is that's what she was thinking. Alright, that's enough tales for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Tales from Retail. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload. And drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons, have a great day and stay safe out there.